$9,000. That's the price of a Tesla Powerwall battery before installation. And Elon Musk says that paired with solar, it can slash your electric bill for decades. Skeptics say the payback math doesn't work anymore. So, who's right? By the end of this video, you'll know whether this system actually saves money or whether it's just an expensive way to feel energy independent. The bill that never stops coming. Not your mortgage, not your car payment, your electric bill, because those others, at least theoretically, end. You pay off the house, you pay off the car, but the electric bill, that one just keeps coming, every single month for the rest of your life, as long as you live in a home that uses electricity. The average American household spends somewhere around $150 to $200 a month on electricity, depending on where you live and the time of year. That's roughly $1,800 to $2,400 a year. Over 20 years, you're looking at somewhere between $36,000 and $48,000 spent on electricity. And that's assuming rates don't go up, which they will, as they always do. The United States Energy Information Administration has tracked electricity prices rising at about 2 to 3% per year, sometimes more. This depends on the region and what's happening with the grid. Picture this. You're standing at your kitchen counter on a Tuesday evening, opening your utility bill. It's summer. You've been running the air conditioning. The number printed on that bill is $40 higher than last month. You pay it, you move on, and you probably don't think about it again until the next one arrives. But that number is going up, slowly, quietly, predictably. Here's what nobody tells you. That bill is also one of the most volatile expenses in your household budget. A single heat wave, a policy change from your utility company, or a grid strain event. Any of those can spike your rate without warning, and you have zero leverage. You pay whatever they charge, unless you stop buying most of your electricity from them in the first place. And that's where this story gets interesting. Now imagine cutting the utility company out of that equation for most of the day. That's exactly what Tesla is trying to do with solar and the Powerwall, the system that changes the equation. But before I explain how the system actually works, I want to be clear about something. I'm not here to sell you this. I want to walk you through exactly what this technology does, what it costs, and whether the numbers make sense for a real person with a real mortgage and real bills. The hype around Tesla can make it hard to think straight. So let's try to do this without the hype. Solar panels do one thing. They take sunlight and convert it into electricity. That's it. No moving parts, no complicated maintenance. Photons hit the panel, electrons move, and your house gets power. On a sunny afternoon, a properly sized system can generate more electricity than your home actually uses at that moment. So what happens to the extra? Without a battery, most systems send that excess power back to the utility grid. Your meter runs backwards and you get a credit. Then at night, when the sun goes down and your panels go dark, you pull power back from the grid and burn through those credits. It works, but it's not energy independence. You're still completely dependent on the grid being up and running. The Powerwall changes that equation. Instead of sending your extra power to the grid, you store it in a battery. A big one. Tesla's current Powerwall unit holds 13.5 kilowatt-hours of usable energy. That's roughly enough to power a typical home for 8 to 12 hours, depending on how much you're using. When the sun goes down, you draw from your battery instead of the grid. And when the grid goes out entirely, your home keeps running. The combination of solar and Powerwall is what actually makes the headline number possible. That's the system we're talking about. And the $9,000 price is just the Powerwall unit, which we'll come back to. But none of this matters if you're still paying nearly the same electric bill at the end of the month. So, before we get to the numbers, let's see what living with this system actually looks like. What a Powerwall actually does all day. Walk through one full day with me. 6 in the morning. The sun is just coming up. Your panels are already picking up light and starting to generate. It's not full output yet, but your coffee maker, your refrigerator, your lights. They're all running on power your roof is producing. You didn't touch the grid. By 10 in the morning, you're in full generation. A properly sized system on a good day can produce 10, 12, sometimes 15 kilowatt hours between mid-morning and late afternoon. Your home is using maybe 1 or 2 kilowatt hours during that time if nobody's home. The rest is going straight into the Powerwall. Now, picture the afternoon. The kids are back from school. The air conditioning kicks on. You're cooking dinner. Your usage jumps. But your battery is charged. You're drawing from storage. The grid has no idea you exist. 8 o'clock at night. Panels are done for the day. Your house is running entirely on what you stored. Lights, TV, the refrigerator cycling on and off. All battery. Then it's 2 in the morning, and the neighborhood goes dark. Power line down, transformer issue, whatever it is. But your house doesn't flicker. Your refrigerator keeps running. Your CPAP machine, if you use one, stays on. Your phone charges. You wake up in the morning. And the only reason you know the grid was down is that your neighbors are outside, confused, and your lights are still on. That's not a fantasy. That's what the system is designed to do. But here's the question every homeowner eventually comes back to. How many years does it take before all of this actually saves you money? The catch nobody mentions. Alright, this is the part most sales pages rush through. Let's talk about the actual numbers, and I want to be careful here because costs vary significantly by location, roof type, system size, and which installer you use. The Powerwall unit itself now costs roughly $9,000 for the hardware alone. Once installation, permitting, and related costs are included, a single Powerwall system typically lands somewhere between $12,000 and $16,500 installed, depending on the region and installer. Solar panels are a separate cost entirely. A full residential solar system, sized for an average home, runs anywhere from $18,000 to $30,000 before incentives. Variables include your home's square footage, your local electricity rates, your roof's sun exposure, and how much of your usage you're trying to offset. Now here's the part that changed everything in the year 2026. And it's the detail many solar videos still get wrong. For years, homeowners could claim a federal tax credit worth 30% of the cost of a qualifying solar and battery system. That incentive dramatically improved the economics and became one of the biggest selling points for going solar. But if you're buying a system outright today, that federal homeowner credit is gone. There are still some lease and power purchase agreement structures where the installer can claim incentives and pass part of the savings through lower payments. But in that situation, you don't actually own the system. State, local, and utility incentives may still exist, depending on where you live, but those vary widely. And that's exactly why the payback math in the year 2026 looks different than it did just a year ago. Now, after all the promises, all the marketing, and all the glossy Tesla photos, when does this thing actually pay for itself? Does it actually pay for itself? If you're saving $150 to $200 a month on your electric bill, that's $1,800 to $2,400 a year. At current electricity prices, a homeowner purchasing a system outright today is often looking at a payback period closer to 15 years, and in some regions, even longer. That's the honest answer, and that's a long time. The disappearance of the federal credit moved the goalposts significantly, which is why older solar payback estimates often look much more attractive than the numbers homeowners are seeing today. But here's what changes the calculation. Electricity rates rising over that period. If your utility rate goes up just 2% per year for 10 years, your savings per year also increase, which means the payback period shrinks. Go back to that homeowner opening their electric bill, the one standing at the kitchen counter, seeing a number that went up again. Now imagine that the bill reads $11.47. That's a service fee. That's it. Some Tesla solar customers have shared bills like that. It doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't happen automatically, but it does happen. 20 years of utility bills at current rates, factoring in modest increases, can easily top $50,000 for an average household. A solar and Powerwall system installed today can easily land in the $35,000 to $45,000 range, depending on system size and local pricing. The math, over a long enough horizon, becomes much harder to ignore. And that's why that homeowner standing at the kitchen counter matters. They're not comparing this system to free electricity. They're comparing it to 20 more years of writing checks to the utility company. But there are two things that aren't about money at all. One is resilience. When the grid goes down, your house works. That has a value that's hard to put a dollar amount on, but it's real, especially in areas where outages are getting more frequent. The other is protection from future rate increases. Once the system is paid off, every rate hike your neighbor absorbs, you don't. How soon could you actually get one? So let's say the numbers make sense for your situation. What happens next? Tesla's website lets you enter your address and monthly electric bill to generate a preliminary quote. That quote gives you an estimated system size and cost before anyone comes to your house. After that, a site assessment happens, either in person or using satellite imagery of your roof. Installation, once everything is approved and permitted, typically takes 1 to 3 days. The permitting process before that can take weeks, sometimes longer, depending on your municipality. This is not a weekend project. It's a months-long process from first inquiry to first day of full generation. Go in with realistic expectations, and it's manageable. Go in expecting next Tuesday, you'll be disappointed. So, let's land the plane. Before we wrap up, there are 3 things that actually matter. Solar panels reduce your dependence on grid power during the day. The Powerwall stores that energy for nights and outages, and the combination can still pay for itself over time. But the timeline is now longer than it was when federal incentives were available. Remember the homeowner standing in the kitchen opening that electric bill? That's who this technology is really for. It doesn't make sense for everyone, but for someone planning to stay in their home for 10 years or more, in a region with decent sun and rising electricity rates, the argument is harder to dismiss than most people realize. If this gave you a clear, honest look at whether Tesla's Powerwall can really cut your electric bill, hit like and subscribe. We break down Tesla's biggest promises, the real numbers behind them, and whether they actually hold up in the real world. Next video, we're doing the exact same thing with your internet bill, because that one might be easier to kill than you think.